Well, welcome back again this week. Today I'm going to be talking about terror in Paris. I'm going to be talking about free speech on campus, and also the debate that the Republicans had this last week on one fine point, and that is in regard to the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. First of all, we all saw the headlines. Some of them are inaccurate now because they found that the death toll was slightly less than what they thought. But the thing that I want to bring up is this fact, that if they had protected, the government protected the right to keep and bear arms in France, and had concealed carry, for instance, amongst the Parisians, this event would have been less than what it turned out to be. Now, you can't stop a drive-by shooting that happened at the cafe, but during the venue where all those people were hearing the rock band from the United States, I don't think that would have lasted as long as it did. It went on for about 3 hours or so before the authorities finally went in and picked up the pieces. You know, government cannot protect you in every instance. In most instances, it cannot. You have to protect yourself. Only by maintaining the right to keep and bear arms and throw in concealed carry can you protect yourself. There would have been individuals in that venue had there been concealed carry and fired back at these individuals who came in. There were only 3 or 4 of them, so it wouldn't have lasted very long. And the casualty rate would have been much lower. And that would have happened long before the authorities even knew that something was going on, let alone rallied to stop it. So, just saying. In fact, you may want to see an article that we ran, get out your pencil and paper, back in early January of this year. Online, you can find it. Go to the New American and look up "Amid Terror in Paris, Gun Control Leaves French Defenseless." Now, this is after these other terrorist attacks, not the latest one. Amid terror in Paris, gun control leaves French defenseless. And that's the same kind of thing they're trying to do in many of our major cities. It would leave our citizens defenseless if we had gun control. And it would not do anything to stop terrorist attacks. It would just facilitate terrorist attacks. Another thing is that we see a problem with all of this terror going on. Now they've got an excuse to put boots on the ground in Syria, form alliances with other countries to bring down this so-called ISIS. Now, we really don't know what ISIS is. All we know is that Al-Qaeda was the big bugaboo, and now all of a sudden they are no longer the problem, and now it's ISIS. And we've been told by almost every Republican candidate that what we have to do is to arm the Kurds. And as I mentioned a week or 2 ago, arming the Kurds is one of the worst things you can do because it's going to stir up more problems. And the fact of the matter is that the Kurds are controlled by the communists. What we are doing is arming the communists in that area in the name of terrorism, of ISIS, which we also armed. And if you want to know a little bit more about this problem with the Kurds and the fact that they are communist-led, we posted another article today, Monday, online on the New American site, and the title of it is "Obama Showers Support on Communist Terrorists in Syria, Iraq." Repeating, Obama showers support on communist terrorists in Syria, Iraq. And these are the sorts of things that are going on in the name of fighting terrorism. You should write for my booklet on terrorism. Just give us a call. They'll know what booklet it is. I wrote about the terrorism here a couple of years ago. What's really behind it? You need to get either the DVD or the booklet on it. And last, let me give you another one that was up. We did this last Sunday, yesterday, online on the New American. Did France's strict gun control contribute to the Paris bloodbath? Did France's strict gun control contribute to the Paris bloodbath. And of course, we think that's the case. And so all around, you see this idea that we've got to support the Kurds to fight the Islamic State. Islamic State attacked by multiple fronts. And always the theme, let's help the Kurds. And this is coming from Republicans, primarily. We need to force Obama to help the Kurds, which is exactly what Moscow wants. Another thing that you've got to understand when it comes to terrorism against Russians is this. We know of no instance where there's been terrorism against the Russians. Stalin used the whole idea of a war on terror, which he started through the Chetka. He had these phony attacks against Russians that were straight out of the Kremlin to give the excuse to Stalin to attack anybody that was his competition. So he would say, they're a terrorist leader, and without trial or anything else, just get rid of them. And that's what they did. Another one was exposed by Alexander Litvinenko, the individual who was poisoned through that radioactive tea in England a few years ago. He came out of the KGB and warned the West of what was going on in the war on terror. He exposed the fact that the head of Al-Qaeda today is a Russian asset. He also pointed out that the so-called Chechen rebels that firebombed the apartment houses in Moscow and other areas were done by the FSB, KGB people to give the excuse to Putin to be able to go in and invade Chechnya. That is the modus operandi of the Soviet leadership. I'm going to call them Soviet because they're still Reds. And whether it's Stalin or whether it's Putin, this is the way they operate. Create a phony terrorist attack in order to do what they want to do. I believe in my own heart, well, maybe I should back up and just say, let's ask the question about that Russian airliner that was blown up. Was that actually an inside job by Islamic terrorists, or did the Russians do it themselves? Now you would say, why would they blow up their own plane? I've already given you 2 instances where they kill their own people to accomplish a political end. You'll notice that there isn't a single individual that you've heard about on that Russian plane that was of any note in business or in the government. Otherwise, you'd know that individual. What were on that plane were Russian citizens that you could label expendable. And so that's going to give the Russians the excuse to do a lot of things against Islamic terrorism. Now, we all know that Islamic terrorism, the way it's structured and everything else, is bad. But who is really giving them the orders? Who is arming them? Who is giving them the money? They say that, well, it's from the oil fields. Who's buying the oil? You see, a lot of that stuff could be shut down, not by bombing the oil fields, but just by going to the customers and saying, look, if you buy one more barrel of oil from ISIS, we're going to shut down your whole country economically. And it can be done through the IMF, the World Bank. It can be done through the WTO. It can be done any number of different ways. Not that I'm advocating using these international organizations, but I'm just giving you an illustration that if these people were really serious, there are other ways of stopping what's going on. Lastly, what I want to do is to talk to you about the free speech movement on the campuses of America, starting out of Missouri to Yale and other places. It's reminiscent of the 1960s and 70s. We demand free speech, say the students, but you have to keep your mouth shut. This is what happened in the 60s and 70s. It's what's happening today. We want free speech, but we'll go in and we'll disrupt your meetings. We'll do anything we can to get you off campus in order to shut you down and shut you up. These things are organized. These things are not spontaneous. They're happening all over the place. It's not a wave of that's out in the ether that hits campus by campus. What it is an organized thing. It was organized in the 60s. It's organized today. And it's organized by the same forces in both periods. And that is the communists. And the more you look at this, the more you look into it, communism is alive and well and is being used to control the campuses of the United States and many other things that are going on, not just here, but overseas. Look at it yourself. Go to alternative sources. We're not saying that these things in Paris are anything other than coming from these terrorist organizations. We don't know precisely at this moment. But we do know it's being used to build the New World Order, to give the excuse to the governments to do what they want to do in the way of creating chaos, creating crisis, so that they can build a larger alliance into a world government. That's what's been going on. It will continue to go on until we stop it. Until next week, we'll see you then.